sitting important English exams in the next year or two, it's never too early to start preparing. And one easy way to improve your results in English exams, especially comprehension papers, is to make newspapers or news websites your best friend. Tutees often ask me, which newspaper should I read? The answer is to try out a wide variety, but do focus on the broadsheets, as they are most likely to be the sort of articles that you will encounter in an English exam. For example, papers such as The Times, The Independent, The Guardian and The Telegraph. So in brief, what do newspapers do? Well, they have three main purposes. They inform, they entertain, and they persuade. This begs the question, whom do they inform, entertain and persuade? And the simple answer is their readership, but it's far more complex than that. Different newspapers look at the same story from different political perspectives. You only need to look at the headlines covering the same story in the different papers to appreciate that. People tend to read a paper which is in tune with their own political opinions. And what are the opinions of the different papers? They can vary over time, but generally, the Daily Telegraph tends to veer towards the right of the political spectrum, the right-wing Conservative Party. The Guardian tends to veer towards the left of the political spectrum, the Labour Party. And the Times and also the Independent vary over the years, but they're somewhere in the middle of the two. They tend to have columns that could come both from a Conservative or from a Labour Party supporter journalist. Let's look at examples of those three purposes that we mentioned earlier. The first purpose is to inform, and this article in the Times does precisely that. It tells us that a Scottish charity is being criticised because it told young people not to look at negative news. That's straight information, no persuasion there as such, and not entertaining. For an example of entertainment, columnists are a good bet. Here in The Telegraph, we have Alison Pearson, who's writing about women over 50 are superheroes, so why ignore them? And an entertaining little image here to show that there's a bit of light-hearted approach here. This is not straight fact, it's personal opinion. Columns such as this, often from the Times in fact, are used as the source text in close reading papers or comprehension papers, certainly in the Scottish system for Higher and Nat 5. So it is well worth reading columns to get a flavour for their approach to journalism. The third purpose of newspapers is persuasion. And it's fair to say that in delivering both news and entertainment, some journalists seek to persuade the reader to adopt their newspaper's political opinions. For example, in this piece taken from The Guardian, Simon Tisdall openly criticises President Trump's presidency in the strongest possible terms to persuade the reader that Trump is, and I quote, a one-man threat to international peace and security, a menace to America's friends. Strong words. So next time you are reading the news, think about the purpose of the article. Is it to inform, to entertain, to persuade, or even a mixture of all three? In other videos, I look at why reading newspapers helps to improve your English results and how they do it. If you'd like to see these and other tips on how to revise for English exams, just subscribe to the channel below. This is Karen Elwes at the Learning Cauldron. See you next time.